Hello and welcome back to the ozfortress Hero League Season 1, week number 3. We're going to be going into our last game of the evening, and it's going to be between Trident eSports and what's their names, remind me, Avril?
Willies.
Willlies, that's the one. So it's going to be interesting to see which way either team takes it. I mean, Trident eSports, from what I understand, they haven't had a great start to the season, but they've definitely been improving quite a bit. So whether or not this is going to be a wipe, whether or not Willys are going to be able to hold their own, I don't know. I don't know. We will soon see. But I mean, what's your opinions on this, Avril?
Well, I think, of the two teams, I haven't seen Willies, but I have seen Trident Esports play, and they've had a sort of a rough start going into, well, I'll take it even further back, but going into Overwatch in general, they've had to have an entire roster change pretty much. Um, a whole bunch of recruiting having to happen, a bunch of, spending a couple of weeks just managing to get their roster finally up, and now, uh, just in time for Heroes League, they've managed to get a core lineup ready to go. So I think Trident are on the rise. I think now that they finally got a core six that are playing together, where they're finally not having roster issues, this is when you can start to get your team's coordination up, get the practice in there, get the team synergy up, and have people comfortable playing with each other and understanding the play styles and moving forward from there. So I really think, um, going in from here on in, I think Trident will just they'll be improving. They'll be on the rise.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, even if they don't do too well in this season of the ozfortress League, it's all practice at the end of the day. It's all about improving. And this is a team, they picked up a sponsor. They're pretty keen on improving. They're pretty keen on taking it to the next level. So I'm excited to see in the coming weeks, in the coming months, maybe even today, what they can be capable of. And we may even see another top team in the ozfortress scene,
Well,
on the
the
oceanic scene.
good thing about Trident's team is that because they are under the umbrella of the organization, they do have access to the resources that could be available to them. They have someone that can manage their team, someone that can pull their players together. Oftentimes you have a team with a bunch of players, but players don't always make the best managers of their own team.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just need um, someone who's good at what they're doing from a management perspective to pull your team together, make sure everything's organized and get everything going. And of course, I don't know um, what kind of staff they're running, but a lot of organizations also have access to resources like coaching staff and analysts and stuff like that. So being under an umbrella of an organization like Trident is definitely something that will be able to help you progress as well. Willies, on the other hand, I'd still like to see um, how this team goes. I just Trident aside, I haven't seen Willies yet, so this is going to be a brand new experience for me.
And with that being said, we have both teams in the server. So it's going to be first map, Ilios.
Yep.
And as you mentioned before, as we mentioned before, it's a map, King of the Hill especially, that relies a bit more on mechanical skill rather than team finesse. I mean, team, execution definitely matters. Don't get me wrong, but when you can really out DM them, as we would say in TF2, DM being basically your
Yep.
raw ability to kill another man. Um, Koth definitely suits it much better than some of these other maps.
Yeah, similar to TF2 as well. If you got the MGE players, you're going to have a much more fun time on Koth. TF2, the rest of the maps, which are a lot more, just a bigger maps and more to do on it, a lot more to think about, a lot more to play. Similar on Overwatch, when you're on the Koth, you've just got the one point to think about. You've only got the one map to consider per time. So it's a bit more of a simple map in terms of complexity and strategy, but the DM, the individual plays, so much more important, and we saw that from um, the other teams tonight. We saw that happen on the Flying Spaghetti Monsters team, where some of their star DPS players came out and really put on a show for the team.
Absolutely. Um, Trident is going to be on blue. Willie's going to be on red. Are there any? Are there any heroes that you think might be coming out? Um, I know Farah is pretty much going to be the one who's is going to be played the most likely, given the fact that hit scan classes, hit scan heroes have made such a massive decline. You don't really see Widow apart from a few select situations, like on actually the Ruin section of Ilios and stuff. But any picks that you would be excited to see here?
I think the picks are very map dependent. The thing with Ilios is you don't actually know which section of Ilios you can get, and I would actually like for Blizzard to eventually implement a way to manually select which section of the map or which part of the map you want to play. But depending on where you go, certain heroes are better on certain maps. So as you said, Widowmaker is suited for the Ruins, but isn't for the other ones, isn't for the other stages of Ilios. I do think Roadhog is a decent pick on definitely on Lighthouse and very much so on Well. Well is the interesting stage of Ilios where the environmental kills make a big part of the team strategy, I would say, and Roadhog is one of the key heroes that can do that with the push off on the Whole Hog ultimate. So yeah, look out for that.
Yeah, well, this is it. We're going to be rolling into Ilios right now, and it's going to be an interesting one. As you mentioned, the environmental kills play a big part in it. We saw it in a game earlier today, the Pharaoh concussion blast, knocking 2 players off immediately, and that basically just created this swing of momentum that the other team could not recover from. So that being said, it will be interesting. We're actually going to be diving straight into the first map, which is going to be the Lighthouse section, and whichever side teams decide to take it, going to be smart.
So the Lighthouse section, I think, favors Tracer quite a bit on this one. Ruins doesn't favor Tracer as much, but Lighthouse definitely favors Tracer. So I'd like to see if teams are going to pull that out. Generally, Pharaoh is definitely running this. You can see both teams are mousing over that right now. And Reapers are the standard pick along with Winstons. You actually don't see any Winstons being hovered over for the Willys side. They're going to go with a Xayah Roadhog double tank composition with Willie on the Tracer, so they're going to have that, and then Start.me on the Pharaoh. And interestingly enough, they're only going to go with the 1 healer, and on the Trident side, a much more classic lineup with 2 supports and a Winston. And here we go.
Here they are, yeah. Both teams going to start rolling out now, trying to meet each other head on. We already see, look at this, straight away, Odie getting into the back lines while the fight's kicking off, trying to basically sandwich them in between. Really, Willie's getting caught out in this this house position, taking a lot of damage here. Are they going to be able to drop any players? It's actually Ken who picks up the first frag onto the Lucio there. Full metal falling in the process, and now really, this is one pick that they could use to crack his defense wide open. Skull has fallen, has picked up Willie in the end as well, so that's 1 frag going their way. Another one as well as Quantum finishes up well. And this is really, really good, in fact. Yeah, they've already picked up 3 kills, but the counter frags are also going to be popped off as Aldraton picks up Odie, so that's no tank, no Winston to really jump on and cause a bit of havoc here. It's really Skull against the world. He's trying his hardest to keep him off the point. And I think Trident, they have to give this up a little bit. They have to reset, but they're losing a few players trying to exit here.
Yeah, I think Willys had the better pickoffs in the stages of that fight, and you can see the positioning as well. They immediately started going for the point as soon as they got the good pickoffs. So the fight was pretty even, I would say. They had even numbers of players for the most part. And here we go, the teams are going to get back in here, Bren.
They need to get back a bit here. There's a Graviton Surge available on Skull. They could pop it in. Here we go. They've caught 3 of them. Can they combo it up with anything else? Ken is going to be falling as well in the process. So they got all those frags that they needed. Willie and Aldraton in the back lines trying to basically create a bit of havoc there, trying to pick up these kills. But it looks like Trident, they are going to be able to retake this. And Star.me has picked up Trace. Is going to fall as well to Skull. So a nice hold by Trident so far. And Whelps, I mean, they do have a slight ultimate advantage on the side of Willys, but
it did cost them. It did cost Trident. They used a lot of tools to get there. A couple of ultimates there. I did notice the black hole went down. But all the tools on the side of Willys now, they do have the triple ultis up. Start.me going to have the Pharaoh ult as well. What they're really looking for is they're looking for the Xayah black hole, and they want to be able to combo with either the barrage or the pulse bombing. Here we go.
Death Blossom from behind. Aldertron picks up a 2k with it. Trace with the follow-up onto Star.me, however. And here comes the resurrection by Trident now. They're looking to reset this fight. Odie actually jumps off the edge of the map, killing himself in the process. At the same time, Ken is trying his hardest. These shields from both these teams' Zarya's. Sound barrier finally going to get popped off by Full Metal as Trident look to take this fight with this advantage of players and health. Now, Willie is also putting in a lot of damage. Quantum with the 2k onto Aldertron and Ken. Pulse Bomb's going to be knocked off now as well. But it's all for naught as Quantum is going absolutely huge. Picks up the 3k. Can he get any more? There's no one else for him to kill really at all. There we go. Odie finishes up Willie.
Quantum has been doing so much work so far. I mean, he hasn't even had to use ulti either. He still managed to hold on to that ulti. You see Skull coming up with the black hole now. Trace is a little bit behind. He's on the 65%. They do still have enough tools to make this hold here. Trident, they need to get something into there. They're actually going to swap Willie off the Tracer onto the McCree. I do agree with that. I don't think the Tracer was really that effective going into the second push. Though they did fail another push, which means Trident are on 83%. We're getting into danger zone now for Willies. They really have one more push to do this, otherwise they're going to go into the overtime. So here we go, push number 3.
Yeah, straight away, Graviton Surge pops off. It's going to be connecting onto 3, but do they have the follow-up? Unfortunately not, as they're dropping lots of players. Trace picking up that one frag. Brilliant rocket barrage, picks up 3, straight into the Graviton Surge. See you later. Wet Willie's going to be feeling that in the morning as the overtime ticks down. And round number 1 is going to be going their way. Straight away, Trident take it. And it was looking a bit shaky, but... Yeah. God, they stepped it up towards the end.
Trident really, that once they got the hold, they didn't lose the hold at all. Willie's only managed to get about 30% on the cap progress, and then it went straight into the Trident side. Trident not losing a single moment of that pressure. They kept the ult. They didn't use all the ultis all at once. They kept a couple of the key ones up. They only used a few of the ones that they didn't. You actually see Quantum getting a 3k without even using aimbot. I think the Tracer, keeping the Tracer that wasn't effective on Willies definitely hurt their composition up. You see them, they're not going to do it for this lineup, but also Willies, they're not going to run a Pharaoh for this. And neither team are actually going to run a Pharaoh for this.
I think it's smart because Widowmaker is very prominent on the Ruin section of Ilios, and we do see these teams, well, only one of the teams, Trace, running the Widow now on the side of Trident already. Look at this, straight in. Odie wants to take the fight straight to them, diving in with the Winston there, basically trying to cause a bit of harassment, a little bit of chaos, a bit of an opening for his team to potentially work off, and really the positioning is quite defensive now by Wet Willies. They've dropped 2 players almost instantly. They've lost the DPS and their healer, Willie, there, so that's their only support going down, and now this fight is looking a bit rough for them. They are running a Mercy as well, sorry, so I am corrected. They are running another support, so they still do have heals. But right now, it's looking incredibly difficult. The players have respawned, and this fight is all over the place right now. Not a single player falling. Whelp's finally going to be getting that entry frag. The follow-up by Quantum as well as he gets the counter back onto the Reaper. Resurrection finally going to be popped off, but the frags are going all the way of Trident. They've already got 3. Can they get any more? Wet Willies with the counter-attack, picking up Quantum and Boon, so that's no Resurrection as well for Trident. And I think Wet Willies, they're going to be able to contest this, providing they focus down their targets.
They are. They've actually managed to pick up a lot of key frags there. I want to commend the Resurrection as well. It did actually a really good job of keeping Wet Willies in the fight. It didn't really look good for Wet Willies at the start. Trace was getting a lot of good pickups, but now that Wet Willies have control of this point, the players are very close to Trace. Trace isn't being as effective as he could be now. A big Resurrection, actually only 1 player, 2 players there. Black Hole going to come down as well. Quantum
bring it out. All the ultimates as well. Primal Rage is going to get popped off by Odin. It's actually done nothing to him. The Death Blossom was committed for that, and he didn't get any frags because of it. And here comes the counter Graviton Surge, connecting onto 2. It's going to be Dark Horse and everyone falling pretty much on the side of Wet Willies. Trace with the 2k. And ultimately, really just a complete collective destruction of the side of Trident. They are destroying them.
They need to give Trace a lot of room here. If you're going to run a Widowmaker, you have to give this Widowmaker as much room as possible. So I would like to see Trident do a forward hold if they can. They need their players to be a bit forward so that you have the range of the Widowmaker that's effective there. If the Wet Willie players get any sort of ground and they get a lot of movement, here comes a Winston actually going to go straight for Trace, putting a bit of pressure on. That's actually really good by Wet Willies, but not so good that they're going to lose that player though.
Yeah, they're committed to Tactical Visor now as we see Stardart. He's trying to basically get these frags if he can. Willie don't want to finish up Skull, so Skull was trying to chase him down and ended up paying with his life in the end. And now Wet Willies, they're in a pretty good position here with that 1 pick-off. They can try and take this fight. Sound barrier popped off by Willie as well as the whole hog by Ken as they're trying to basically zone them out now. Wet Willies doing a bloody good job of it so far as they've already basically forced them all off the map and recontested this. So they have got it, but however, there is still resurrections available on both these teams now, so they need to be take a bit of care with these fights. guys.
down.
Boone has fallen.
Big.
So it's really bad for Trident now. If they want to try and take this fight, they do not have the resurrection to reset this. Whereas Darkos has fallen in the end. So that's both teams' mercies falling now. So this is really a fight, and it's really a DM fest from both sides to see which way they can take it here, Avril.
It is sort of even, but Quantum's going to pick up Willys, so that's no more heals on the side of Willys. That's going to be pretty catastrophic. Foreman are going to use the sound wave a little bit premature. I'm not sure he really needed that. It looks like their team were going to win that fight anyway, but the big thing that Willys did for that fight is they managed to kill Trace, they managed to kill Boone, and that really opened up the point for them, but now they're on the back foot again. Trident have the cap, but interesting to note that Willys did actually get the cap for a little bit, so the progress timers are still fairly even.
This is one of the most even games we've seen all day today. OD going to be jumping behind him, basically trying to create an opening. He's on the back of Darkos now. Nobody has seen him, and he's picked up that pick. So there's no res available for Willys now. They're trying to take this fight, but I think they may have made a mistake here. Graviton Surge popped off as well by Trident. They're trying to connect onto two of these players. It's going to be OD falling as well. Willie now, he's popped the sound barrier, but at what cost? There's no one there to follow it up. Tactical Visor by Stardew. He's going to get taken down as well, as Skull is just putting in so much work with these right clicks, just really destroying them. Ken's falls as well. Aldertron has switched to Tracer. He's trying to basically bring down Trace on Widow, but he's not going to be able to get the angle. He's going to get chasing down as well. Resurrection being popped now by Willys as they look to retake this. Darkos now, he's getting a lot of heals as well, so we are going to be able to build up this second res potentially for this fight. Boom on the side of Trident, still has not popped his off. Tactical Visor as well being popped off by Quantum as he's trying to take these frags. Picks up one. Can he get any more? Ken's trying his hardest. He's popped off the whole hog. This could be the recontestation, but they do not have the resurrection. And there we go, popped off by Trident. They're resetting the fight now, Avril, and it's looking like it's going the way of Trident here.
Yeah, desperation times for Willys. Then he gets a couple of plays on the point. Aldertron's going to do his best to hold, but how long can he last? He needs to last long enough for the rest of his team to get in. But look at Odie. He's going to be pushing players on the back line. He's going to stop the reinforcements from Willys from getting in. And Welps is now on the point. He's really trying to do some work here. Darkos finally makes it back as well, but he's going to get taken down pretty much immediately. No resurrection there. Quantum going to take down Welps. It's still looking really good for Trident. And absolutely desperate plays coming out from Willys here. They need their plays to really get on this point.
Yeah, they're trying to contest it to the best of their abilities. Ken, one of the last man standing. Aldertron on Tracer is doing his best to try and basically contest this overtime. There's a post bomb onto one. He's only managed to pick up Boom, but that is a big frag. No heals for them. Quantum with the follow-up frag. They need to try and contest this point. Well, pumps his primal rage just in the nick of time. Jumping onto the point, contesting it a little bit longer. And now, really, it's all up to his team. They're trying to roll out to the best of their abilities. Welps is trying to contest this. He's trying his hardest. Graviton Surge popped up. It's only going to be able to connect onto Welps. Can they get the frags? That's the question. They are not really getting it. Trident are really doing their hardest, trying their hardest to try and keep them off. And I think it's working, but now at this point, really, Willys are in a very sticky situation. They're dribbling onto the point one at a time. They can't do anything about this now. All they got to do is forward hold from here on out, keep them off the point. They're still dribbling on. They're still trying, and Stardot has actually managed to contest it as well. He's just jumped onto it. Welp's going to be coming in. But at this point, really, what can you do? It's 6 against, like, one player who's dribbling in every few seconds. I commend their efforts, but now it's looking really difficult for them.
This actually must be really frustrating for Trident because the players from Willys are still coming on one by one. I actually think Willys need to be playing faster characters if they want to do this. But, you know what? I do like that Willys are still trying at the end there. Really commend their effort for trying to keep that point, but they needed to change their lineup if they wanted to keep going there. Roadhog, a bit too slow to get to the point, and yeah, it just at that point it didn't look like Willys had any chance of making it back unless they could make sure that a couple of their players could survive long enough to group up for some sort of play. And you know, it really just came down to Trident. I felt like if they held a little bit more forward, they would have kept the Willys players out. Odie did a great job of pushing players back using the Primal Rage at the start of that, but a couple of players sneaked up behind and kept the overtime going. Couple of comments I'll make about their game is that it was really Trace not being shut down was a big factor. Widow is pretty good on this map. However, I just don't think Willys at all. I saw Welps jump on Trace a couple of times, but the big problem there is the rest of his team was not there to follow up. So the time that we did see him jump on, he got killed pretty quickly. And the rest of the time, the other players are not trying to get Trace. So really, it's Trace sitting at the back having the easiest game of his life.
Yeah, no disagreements from me whatsoever. they didn't really contest it. We did see, actually, to be fair to them, Welps on the Winston was trying to contest. He was trying to jump to the back lines and take out Trace, but it just wasn't working out at all. I mean, he was getting focused down so quickly, and nothing really came of it. But the next map is going to be Hollywood that we're going to be seeing played, and we're going to be is Wet Willies, isn't it, on defense first? So Trident on attack.
Be interesting to see if Trident wants to go for another Widow play. It doesn't really quite work for attacking first point, but second point, your big heroes are Widowmaker and Pharah. Pharah more so because Widowmaker is less popular in the meta at the moment, but I do believe Trace is both the Widow player and the Pharah player, so whatever he picks, you're only going to see one out of the two. Still a little bit unsure of what Willys are going to do on this defense, but if anything, based on the Koth performance, I actually do think these teams are somewhat even. I understand that Trident did take it out, but if you look at the progress timers, if you look at really the scores, quote unquote, for Koth, the score doesn't really represent how close it actually was for me.
Very close game, and now here we are. We're entering into Hollywood. Pretty standard map. Has been played throughout the game's lifespan. It was one of the later maps to be added to the beta. So really, teams, I say they don't have much experience on it, but the game's been out a while now, and teams have had ample opportunity to experiment, and the meta has been developed pretty well, and we have seen it come and go with Widowmakers and whatnot, and the downfall of the Kree. But it's definitely going to be one to see. I'm curious to see, because I haven't seen Symmetra being ran once today. I know some teams like to run it when they try to slow down the pace of the game a little bit, but it can be very strong as well on here, because it's ample opportunity to get to build up your teleporter very quickly, given the fact that the first point is just one massive choke point.
And here we go. I think your wish is going to come true, and Trace is thinking, well, you know, Bren, if you want to see a Symmetra, I'll show one to you. Actually, no, I'm joking. That's on the offense, so he's just trolling you. Bad luck there. You're actually still not going to see a Symmetra. A little bit unfortunate. But actually, you know, where I think the meta is going at the moment is what Flying Spaghetti Monsters did. They actually dropped their second support player, not for a Symmetra, not for another support, but actually for a damage character. They went for a Junkrat, and actually I feel like as we progress, you're going to see more and more teams do that instead of Symmetras, instead of Lucios on defense. Because actually, what's really good is having the extra damage output versus having the utility. The thing with the teleporter is really good if you lose. So why not lose? If you have better damage, you could probably just win the fight without losing. In theory, which is why if you're putting up a teleporter, in theory, you're setting yourself up to lose, kind of, if you're going to get what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all it ensures is that you can retake these fights, engagements. One, you've got the resurrection available still,
if you lose. It's insurance for if you lose. Whereas I feel like the meta's going for just win instead.
Yeah, we do see, once again, rolling out Trace, taking the high ground there, trying to basically spam them out a little bit. Once again, brilliant pin straight onto the back of Boone by Aldertron. So that's one pickup that they're really going to want now. Stardot also going to be finishing up Quantum. At the same time, a lot of frags, full metal falling as well, so that's no mercy for the Trident guys as they're trying to push into this. And now they're doing a smart thing here. They're backing off, they're resetting the fight, they're collecting their players, and now they're going to repush.
I'm really glad that Trident didn't overcommit there, that as soon as they saw they were going to lose that fight, the remaining players managed to get out without losing too much. You don't want to feed the other team too many ultimates. If you lose too many deaths, if you give away too many kills, the other team is going to get the ultimates up. You actually see Aldertron on the 92% now. That's going to be a big factor for this next push. All he needs is one good hammer, and that could be the entire defense secured as just off one hammer.
Yeah, and we already see them taking a high ground. Trident over the back on the wraparound. Earthshatter onto 2-3, I should say. He's swinging and he's trying to basically bring them down. The shield by the skull there, doing his darndest to try and keep them off. The point also being contested. The counter Earthshatterer by OD has managed to clean up too. Skull with the 3K. Resurrection finally going to be popped off as well by the Trident guys, as Full Metal is putting in a lot of work. Stardot kills himself in the process, and now this is looking very tough for the side of Wet Willies. If they want to try and hold on to this, they're going to try and make their way onto the point to contest this. Darkos is the only man there, however, and he's just died in the process. That's not what you want.
That's it. I don't think they can contest any more than that. And actually, Quantum wants a little bit more blood. He says, give me one support. I want the other one as well. He's actually going really deep. He might get picked off if he's unlucky.
He's trying to chase down Ken
comes the
there on the
aerial battle as
Lucio.
well.
He's trying to basically, yeah, the area battle above. Basically, this high ground is absolutely instrumental to holding this point, and they are trying to hold it to the best of their abilities. But really, Willys, they're a bit disjointed, if you like, right now. Willys trying to basically put in a lot of work onto this Mercy as the Reaper, if he can. But this cart is getting pushed, and not really any frags going either way.
Trident are the ones that look to me like they're a bit destroyed. In fact, Stardot says, Trace, well, you're way out of position. I'm going to pick you first. And this Dark Horse is going to get picked off here, but I actually still think Willys can make this. Quantum needs to be taken down, though. He's got the aim on the top of the bridge. Oh, massacre from Quantum.
He's picked up 3. He wants to look for more. He's popped down his healing field. We do see Aldertron. He's been cut off from his team from the Reinhardt. He's trying to basically cause a bit of havoc. He misses the pin. His team are trying to contest this desperately, but there are only 3 people against the world. What can they possibly choose to do? Quantum finishes up well with the Helix Rocket. The charge by Odie is going to force them back as well. And this is looking quite bad now for Wet Willies. Willie on the back lines is going to Death Blossom. Going to be taken down with no problem whatsoever. Quantum saw it coming a mile away as he Helix rockets him to death. The Resurrection now being popped. It's a bit of a reset by Wet Willie. Here comes the Earthshatter as well by Aldertron. He's got the pin onto Odie. Odie's in a bit of trouble here as he's trying to... Here's a Graviton surge by both these teams. And they've connected it onto 4. But they don't have the damage to follow it up at all. The barrage was just a little bit too late. But is it too late for them at all? Stardot picks up 3. I don't think it was too late. I think I spoke too soon, as he is actually crushing it.
I'll tell you what, it was too late, but not too late for Stardot. Somehow he managed to get in there just in time. It was too late in the sense that he should have been available to use that as the black hole went off. I think he got a bit lucky in the sense that Trident still stuck around in order for Stardot to get those kills. And off the back of Stardot kills, Willys are going to manage to hold off for one more defense push.
They got a few ultimates that are coming up. Darkos doesn't have his Resurrection available just yet. Aldertron does have his Earth Shatter, so that is one thing they can use potentially. Full Metal, however, the Mercy on the side. Oh my goodness, Darkos gets crushed. That's not what they needed. No heals now for the side of Wet Willies as we look at this Trident just taking a fight straight to them. Aldertron gets off a fat 3-man Earth Shatter, misses the charge just in the nick of time there. They are picking up a few of these frags as Willie on the back lines has done a lot of work as he's finished up 2 already. Boone and Trace going out. Here comes the Resurrection now by Trident as they're still looking to contest this. Stardot is trying his hardest to try and contest it from above. The charge by Odin not going to be putting in any work.
Stardot!
Oh my goodness.
Onto full middle, that was actually really beautiful, and now looking still... Oh no, Quantum coming up with the beautiful aimbot on the side, the tactical visor. That's going to probably secure it now. Trace gets taken down by Whelps, but it's not going to be enough. Whelps is the only one still on this point. Quantum is looking for more blood inside the spawn, and even Lucio are going to get in there as well. Skull's still getting the cart pushed up, and Wet Willies look like they're not going to be able to get to the cart on time.
No, that is going to be the cap at least, and really, that was pretty much off the back of Darkos there. Darkos ran in with the res. As I say, that Earth Shatter pops off. He's hit it off to 3. Can he get the kills? Yes, indeed, he can. Here comes the Death Blossom. He's going to manage to finish up Odie in the end. Stardot with the help of him as well. And really now, this is looking pretty good so far for Wet Willies, but they need to... Yeah, they need to back out here. They've got the forward spawns now. Trident can absolutely crush them if they're too far forward here. Skull has picked up Stardot. He follows it down as well. Quantum picks up Aldertron. So that's really... These are frags that they cannot afford to lose right now. And they are just gaining so much territory from it, Avril.
Yeah, so much free ground getting picked up by Trident there. Wet Willies absolutely outstayed their welcome. They needed to get a couple of frags. They did that, immediately leave the point. They had no other reason to stay there. And you do see 2 plays from Wet Willies getting punished now. And Trident are on their way, and Willie gets killed again. This is definitely Trident's push. 6 plays to 4. Here come the ulties coming down.
Oh, Rocket Barrage is going to be able to not do much damage. It's actually putting a lot of work, actually, removing the sound barrier. Graviton surge now onto 2. Aldertron does the charge in. He's picked up Odie, but can they get any more? It's really one man against the world. The Resurrection as well. I think this has sealed the nail in the coffin. Now, Willie is jumping onto the point. He's trying his hardest. Rocket Barrage as well by Stardot to try and keep them off. The players are coming in, and here's the res. That was absolutely critical now as the fight has reset. Odie gets the charge in, and it's really looking like it's going the way of Trident now. Surely they've popped up the sound barrier. They've only got a few players left. Whelps on Diva to try and contest this point as much as they can. But surely Avril, it's all for naught.
Definitely all for naught. You know, I think pretty much that last push came off the back of Wet Willies overstaying their welcome after the second point, losing 2 players. Free push for Trident. They walk in, once again pick off another 2 players, 6v4 onto the last point, and then they secure it. Dark Horse was one of the players killed right at the start as well. Not having that resurrection for the start of that fight, getting Dark Horse picked off that early, you know, it just makes such a big difference for your ability to actually hold that point. You actually see a big difference between the 2 teams is Full Metal being able to get the resurrections off, so that even though Willys managed to get a couple of kills in response on the last point defense, Full Metal got them back up, but Dark Horse was a little bit too late to the party.
Yeah, and that is going to be a 6 minutes 34 time. It won't matter too much if the team don't manage to cap that second point, but if they do, that's the time they're going to have to learn to beat, and it's going to be interesting to see which way Willys take this, because I mean, I would pin the Trident guys to be the better team here, and the stronger team, so whether Willys can break their defense is yet to be seen, but I've got faith.
I think both of the teams are showing a few mistakes, and the interesting thing about these teams is that the mistakes are being made. I can see them, but a lot of the mistakes are actually not being punished. A couple of them are, and when you do see the mistakes being punished, like you did in the last point, the teams are able to capitalize quite quickly off it. But one thing I'll say about Trident, though, is that although they got a pretty decent time, they do have to look out for a couple of things. Their players are still not as well coordinated as they really could be. You'll see on one of their pushes, Trace went for a really solo play pretty deep in there. They're really falling on the back of, I think Quantum is saving them in a lot of these pushes. Quite a few of Trident's pushes, I felt like, well, they look like they're about to lose this one, and then Quantum comes out with the tactical visor and picks up 2 to 3 kills, really saving them. So off the back of Quantum's really good plays, Trident is still in the game and unpunished for some of the mistakes they're making.
And we do see these teams are just setting up for now, knocking down the barriers to make sure they do not get in the way of any potential pushes. We see Boone on Tourbillon. This is interesting. I haven't seen this for a while. You do see it every now and then on Hollywood First, especially in this spot here. It can throw a few teams off. So this is probably one of the first unusual pickups we've seen so far.
Where did he put his turret? I actually didn't see that.
It's right around the corner, next to all like the sound equipment and stuff. I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to call it the sound equipment room. But yeah, these teams, yeah, Tourbillon is interesting. Because these teams are going to start to roll out.
Tourbillon's damage is actually really decent. I'm not even just talking about the turret, but his right-click shotgun is pretty brutal. The big problem with Tourbillon is his 200 HP fall is not that good. We're going to see the teams get into the fight here. Some pokes being picked, some pokes just going off on each other at the moment. Good positioning by Quantum though. He's got a blue beam and he's getting a lot of damage on it. Trace is going to get a couple of kills.
Absolutely, running straight in! Trace, you absolute beast! He picks up a 4K! How? How in God's name? That was so quick. All of that just happened far too fast. 5? He's not going to get 6, surely. Wiley, he's too far forward. Is Trace going to be able to pick him up here? Surely Wiley's going to die here. He's out of position. No, his team are there to back him up. But my God, Trace, good God, man.
He's got his ulti for this now. Off the back of 5 kills, Trace is going to be able to use an ulti here. I would like to see him set up for that. His positioning right now is still on the cart. He needs to be sort of standing somewhere out of the way so he can get a good tire off. I would probably look to use it about now as Willys are about to commit to this push.
It doesn't look like he wants to do it too much. Willie's going to be jumping in ahead straight away, boosting in the entirety of the team. Dark Horse as well on the back lines. Trace hits up the fat 2K, kills himself in the process. Here comes the resurrection as well by the side of Willys as they're looking to try and contest this further. Odie with the counter charge is going to get taken down. Trace is putting in so much work, however, as he's putting in a lot of damage for his team, and it's a successful defense for now, Adderall.
Not 100% sure on the resurrection there. You know, whenever I see a one-player resurrection, I never feel like it's really worth it unless you're actually bringing back an ultimate from the player. So a little bit unsure on that. He could have probably brought back Odie there, so small mistake still being shown on the side of Trident. He could have actually probably held that. You're going to see now on the side of Willys, they're going to push him now with 3 ultimates. This should be their push, but the interesting thing I want to note here is they drop their Mercy, and that's actually really big because on payload and escort maps, you really do need the resurrection. It is such a big factor, and they're not going to have it.
Look at Boone just spamming that corner around with his things. But here we go. This is it. Speed boosted.
Oh.
Earth Shatter connects onto 2. Can they get the follow-up damage? Admiral has fallen in the end. Trace with the great trap. Counter Earth Shatter as well being popped up by Willys now. The charge in. Odie's putting in so much work. Ken, one of the last man standing, is trying to escape with his life in the back line. He's being chased down by Quantum. Quantum's going to finish him up with a Helix rocket. And what a great defense there by the Willys guys.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You know, not having the resurrection there means, like, you saw a lot of the players went down there, but if you had a res, you can restart the fight entirely. You actually make Trident use a lot of ultis there to clean you up, and it all goes for nothing if you get a good resurrection off. They still haven't bothered to swap yet. You're going to see the Dragon Blade also going to come up for Whelps, and now Whelps up as well. They only used one ulti in the last push. That was Willie's Pharaoh Barrows. 4 ultis still on the side of Trident. Darko's going to be the first one going in. What are they going to do with this? When are we going to see the Dragon Blade? Here it comes now. Start on me going to get pick up 2.
Oh my
Willie going to
goodness.
pick up the turret. Full middle down. There's not going to be a resurrection.
Yeah, and here comes the Graviton Surge being popped out now by Willys. They only managed to pick up 1 player. It's Quantum against the world. Quantum's been absolutely crushed. And the sound barrier popped off for good measure now. Trident, they want to take this by storm. I don't think they had to pop up that sound barrier, but maybe they thought it was necessary. This is going to be the cap at least. And this is going to be a chance really now for Willys to try and take it if they potentially can. I mean, if we see them take 1 more round here, if they take the 1 more point, I should say, now they're going to be under time. But they've only got 2 minutes 40 left, pretty much.
They do. They only have 2 minutes 40, and that's for the entire map. They start on me. Picking up the first blood on this point. It's a really good kill. Quantum's going to retreat on Darkos. Still no mercy. I still think it's a mistake, but they need to be able to get the frags to make this kill. Start on me on the trace now. A res going to come up. The cart's not very pushed up. They need to make a lot more work happen here. Willie's still a lot of ground to catch up on.
Yeah, it's this high ground hold. It's absolutely brutal. Trace finishes up Willie as well. Beautiful rockets by that man. He's trying to basically slam them in. Earth Shatter as well for good measure. Can they get the damage in? That is the question. Skull picks up 1 frag onto Whelps. Odie with the follow-up onto Ken. And this is a lot of damage being put in by Trace as he manages to take down Darkos as well. So this is looking really, really good for Trident so far. They need to cap this point up. If they can get a few points in. But to win the entirety of the game and to win on better time, they've got 1 minute 55 seconds left.
I think it's a mistake for Boone to still be on the Torbjorn, and just as I say that, he's going to change to the Lucio, so that's looking pretty good. Start on me a little bit too forward there. They need to get some card movement happening. It's sort of going now very slowly, though. Bit of an air battle coming on for Willie. He's actually on the wrong side, I feel. And Trident are going to be first one to engage here. They want some action going on. Trace will blow an ulti, but Odie picks up 2. Willie going to trade back on Skull.
This is looking pretty fat so far. I think they're doing a really good job of defending this. Like, the resurrection is popped off by full metal as well, so really, nothing really lost here. And I think you can do that. You can afford to do this in this position. Even though Darkos doesn't have his resurrection available, so there's not going to be any recontention. And he falls as well in the process. You cannot have that when you're basically, the time is against you. Whelps now is trying to take this 1v or 1v3, I should say, on the alleyway. And he's going to be falling to Quantum. Quantum putting in absolutely tons of work. Willie now jumping forward, trying his hardest to try and keep them off that high ground. You cannot afford to do this now when it's coming to this. 50 seconds remain. Earth Shatter popped off by OD. He's got the pin as well, so that's going to be 1 frag that they do not need whatsoever. They need to try and get some more. They are absolutely crushing. Darkos is feeding his life time and time again.
He didn't have a resurrection anyway, but he just ran in and died. I'm not too sure why he did that. Ken finally going to get a trade pick on Boone. This might be the only chance that Willie's going to have. They only have 30 seconds left on the point. They're not going to be able to get the full map on 30 seconds, but they may still get the points if they can cap. Full middle going down. This is the best chance they're going to have. No resurrection on the side of Trident. If they're ever going to make a push happen, it has to be this one right here, right now. Aldertron going to pick up Odie as well. Here comes Willie with the ultimate. Going to get traded on by Skull though. The cart is still moving. They need to keep it going. No one's dealing with Trace.
Trace is still basically putting in a lot of work. Earth Shatter connects onto 2. Aldertron with the charge as well. That's going to be Boone going down now. And here we are. There's the time gone, so they cannot win the map, unfortunately. But they can still take this point for a little bit of points. And there we go. Skull pops off his primal rage now. Darkos still basically trying to put in that work. Odie with the charge in. Star.me with the free kick from the Death Blossom. That's exactly what they needed to try and contest this. And it's pretty much everyone dead. Odie going to be falling. Skull going to be falling. They're going to be able to cap this up, but unfortunately they cannot take the map from
they
them.
cannot
They
take the
can
map.
get the rounds though.
They can get one more point if they can get to the final push. They can make it. I don't know. I hope they're still going to play because I hope they realize they can get one more point off this. But
No, they can't. They can't.
it looks like they're still playing, and I hope they continue. Whelps gets a kill on Boone. He's pretty on low health at the moment. The momentum's still in the favor of Willys. They're still pushing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they might just finish up the map now and search for the play of the game or whatever, if they want to. But that is game. Thankfully, I mean, they didn't manage to cap it up to the last point. But Willys, they put up a very decent fight. They've secured some points at least for playoffs. And at this point, they're still basically just slugging out a complete DM fest. Earthshatter and Rocket Barrage is coming out from all over the place. Whelps has pretty much given up as he sits on the cart, and that is going to be GG.
Yeah, I've actually confirmation from admin Brodogs that apparently once the timer is over, if you bleed out the timer completely, you don't have an opportunity to go for bonus points. So that's why it's actually GG though.
Yeah, they want to push it to the end. I don't think Trident want to let them whatsoever.
I'll use this time to quickly talk about what Willys did there and what Trident did in response. So Willys, they spent half the map without a Mercy. I think that's a really critical error because in this game, the resurrections are crucial. They change the game completely. They keep you in the fight when you're gonna lose the fight, and you know they basically win you a fight if you should have lost the fight. It's really crazy how good Resurrection is in this game, and if you don't have that, well, I think you're just on the back foot, really. Willys also didn't really punish Trident for a lot of the mistakes that they did make. However, I did feel like Trident did a much better job of punishing the mistakes Willys did, and you actually saw towards the last couple of pushes there, Willys started trickling players, and Darkos started to fly in for no real good reason, dying as well. And a lot of critical areas like that really cost him. And here we're going to look at Trace with a beautiful play at the first point. He got the massive 5 kill. This isn't going to be it, but Trace did so much work on this map as well as Quantum.
Yeah, he just kills himself in the process. Picks up 1 kill, gets the second, and yeah, Trace really a really driving force for his team. You often see these key players in any team, not just the Oceanic region, but they are basically just destroying players in left, right, centre, and they do build the team sort of around them.
You actually notice as well, all the points that Willys got, the first and second point that they actually capped, they were capped off the back of killing full medals. So not having the resurrection is what won, not Trident not having access to resurrection due to a death is what won Willie those points. So yeah. You can see the sort of difference a Mercy can really make. And when they couldn't get those frags, they couldn't get the pushes, and they were playing sort of weirdly in a way. But when they did come together and they did get the proper picks, they actually managed to get the points. So yeah, that's what Willys did.
We are going to have some interviews coming in as well from the side of the Trident guys. We've got Skull. We are joined by Sheep. I don't know if Sheep's going to be talking now. I'm not too sure, but Skull, how's it going, my man?
How's it going? Yeah.
You've just come off the back of not a conclusive win. It was a bit of a tough game for you guys, but still, you did show that you were the dominant side. Definitely something to be to consider anyway from these other teams in the tournament, in the league, I should say. Obviously, you're pretty happy about it. What are your thoughts for playoffs in this season?
To be honest, right now this team, we're super fresh. So when I say that, I mean we're currently like in single digits for scrims in terms of how many times we have scrimmed. So I guess for playoffs, we're kind of just focusing right now on the super basic stuff of coordination and stuff like that. We still have a lot of stuff to work on in terms of getting to know each other as players and working out what we're good and bad at. We're slowly getting there, I guess. And I think in general, we know we're good players. So it's more about just kind of fleshing out all these problems that most teams have when they form and starting to get a rhythm. So yeah, and so in terms of playoffs, I guess like all we're really focused on right now is just improving our game and playing whoever we need to do that. So games like this are good, no matter how you look at it, just so we can flesh out what we want to do, stuff like that. But in terms of playoffs, yeah, we don't. I mean, obviously, our target is to be the best team that we can be, and we want to be the best team in the country eventually one day. But we got a lot of hard work to do to get there. So.
Cool. How did you guys feel? I noticed you guys were running a Torbjorn for quite a bit of that map. I do see Torbjorn sort of run sometimes on the first point defense. You guys actually did it on the second point for a little bit as well. How do you guys feel about the Torbjorn play on this map, and is that part of your core strategy that you like to run?
No, it's not at all part of our core strategy, to be honest. For the second area, that was just a blunder on Boone's, on his game. He apparently, I'm not sure 100% what happened, but from what it sounds like, he didn't swap quickly enough, so he didn't get to swap to something else better. But in terms of why we ran him in the first place, it's because we knew they were running Pharah a lot, and we didn't think that there'd be, I guess we were feeling ourselves a bit, and we kind of felt that they wouldn't be able to adapt to a Torb, and they wouldn't expect it very much in that part of the map, because most teams don't run one. But it's still a pretty good, valid strat against Pharahs, because Pharah is like the meta right now. So yeah, I guess usually, I mean, we didn't really run a normal setup for that, because we're kind of like just running whatever we want at the moment, whatever we feel good with, because like I said, we're pretty fresh. So like for instance, I usually run a Roadhog in defense there, but I was running a Xayah just because I've been playing pretty well with her. So yeah, I guess the Torb was more just like a flex pick that we went into, because we only needed one healer anyway. So yeah, I guess it was just to experiment a bit, because we knew they were going to run a Pharah, just see how it went. So
I want to talk a little bit about your preparation into going tonight. We had a bit of a brief chat with your manager Sheep earlier, and who was saying that you guys have a bit of a pre-match ritual of sorts, where you sort of get together and work on a couple of things. Could you maybe take us through what your process is to get yourselves prepared for the match?
I mean, we're pretty similar to most teams, I'd say. We're just like trying to scrim before, so we had a scrim like a couple hours ago. Tonight we were running through a few maps and giving them all callouts and stuff, because there's been a bunch of coordination issues in terms of getting everyone to the right place on the map a lot. So we were just running through callouts and stuff today a bit. But yeah, generally just scrims. I mean, like, I'm not sure what Sheep's been telling you, but yeah, most of the time it's just like scrims and I guess running through our game plan, because like I said, as we're pretty fresh, got a lot of stuff to kind of flesh out, and we haven't got any solid strats or comps that we always run at the moment. So it's more just about kind of touching base on where we are as a team, and trying to constantly update everything that we're working on. So that's basically it, I guess.
I'll just quickly finish off my side with I mentioned early on in the cast that you guys had a bit of a rough start in the Overwatch scene in Oceania. You had a lineup it sort of fell apart a bit, and you had to rebuild your lineup, and you spent a bit of time going for them. That probably used up quite a bit of time, which would have been why you guys haven't had as much scrim time. So how do you feel about your lineup now? Do you guys feel like you have a solid core 6 that you can run with now? Are you pretty happy with your team, and you know, how are you guys looking moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the stuff with the old roster was pretty unfortunate. It's like a bunch of technicality stuff. I won't go into it, but the core roster now, to be honest, we're still not even really running with the core roster. Quantum is a sub for the team. One of our members, Frey, has been in Europe for the last month. He comes back in like a week or two. And we're really excited to see what he can do for the team. He was the only DPS player that we picked up, and we tried about 12 plus. So
Frey.
Frey, yeah. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see what he can do. But for the rest of us, yeah, I guess we basically picked the people that we played the best with, that we could see a lot of potential in. And the most important thing is, obviously, we all want to be on the same level in terms of individual skill. And we met that criteria, I guess. But another important thing was just getting along together and having the same goals. So I feel like we've struck a pretty good chord with that. And I think given enough time and the right attitude and the right dedication, this team can go very far.
Well, on the topic of Quantum, I felt like he played really well tonight. He was actually
Yep.
one of the players that I felt like really held the team together. Did notice a few mistakes, but even when you did have the mistakes, it was really Quantum for me that came through and cleaned up, and really, filled the plug in for those mistakes and kept your team going together. So he actually played really well tonight.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt.
No, he's definitely a great player. I don't take anything away from him. He's definitely got some talent there, and I love having him as a sub for the team.
Breen, did you want to add
I guess I
anything?
will jump in as the
You
manager.
pretty much handled every question. I think, Avril.
I think Sheep wanted to jump in as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna jump in on that last question. I think a lot of people, I got a little bit of flack from people saying like, why didn't you pick up the best team in the season in the region? And I guess kind of the idea with this roster wasn't to build the best team possible. We could have done it. We have the ability to do it, but it wasn't really what we wanted to do. What we want to do is kind of build a community with the team. So, we spent more time, instead of looking for the best players, we looked for guys, who had good base foundation for their skill, but they were the right guys. To kind of add to like the family of a team, we wanted a really tight knit team who kind of knew each other. So yeah, I think that will, in the long run, is a much better decision for us. It's kind of proven to work in the past. Kind of historically worked really well with our CS:GO guys. So I mean, as a manager, I'm really confident in these guys. Because they're just getting along so well and they're all got this really fantastic attitude to just working to be the best they can be. And I really do see them being the best in the region sooner rather than later. Though.
Yeah, no, I wanted to mention it. Like, it's so refreshing to see that this a team that's actually aiming for the #1 spot that's like currently not obviously in the top 8 right now. You're not there yet, but time will tell. We may be seeing you guys, attending all sorts of tournaments and potentially taking the spots from some of these top teams. So I really do. I do like to see it. It's interesting to see because there are rumours abound that people are saying like the amateur scene, the amateur bottom level to the team, is dying off a bit. But you guys aiming for the top spot definitely reignites a bit of hope for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess for me, me and Trace came from Halo on console, obviously. So, I mean, we've had to fight through a bunch of stuff. I won't go into that. It's a very, very long story. But for us, we were top level competitors in Halo in the country. We were top 2 all of during 2015. So we know what it's like to win, and we know what it takes to win. So for us, anything less than first or second, but obviously first, is where we want to end up. So we really, really know what we need to do. We're patient as well. So like I said, this is a roster that's not going to hit top 4 within a week of forming, but it's a roster that once it gets to the top, will hopefully, and if everything goes well, we'll stick around there for a long time, and I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I know it definitely can't be easy moving from. I know a lot of players have problems coming from another game to another game, but coming from an entirely different platform to a different platform, that must be quite something as well. So I think you guys have done a fairly decent job of translating over. I mean, I don't know how you feel about the transition. There must have definitely been some challenges there, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in that regard, problems still come up every now and then. Consistency is the main thing. But I guess, like I said, coming from a top level background, no matter what game it is, you know what it takes, and that includes mechanical skill. So for us, it's more about keeping an open mind about it, but knowing that it's something that needs to be nailed down, because in the end, it's an FPS game. You can't win with pure strategy and attitude. So mechanical skill is obviously going to take the cake a lot of the time. So for us, I feel like we've transitioned pretty well. We've done a lot of the right things in terms of accelerating that progress. But I guess, yeah, for us, it's more of an attitude thing and kind of working on it every single day, just like we do when we play every day. So playing a lot of the game is a massive step in doing that, but there's obviously little things that we're trying to do to improve that every single day that we play. So I don't think it's really a barrier that we're going to face past like 6 months from now. I think in that time we'll be up there with everyone else in terms of top level, and I don't think it's going to be an issue for us whatsoever.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'm really, just as I said, really happy to hear that you guys are so committed and so basically you're forward thinking, you know, thinking to the future, thinking about for that top 4 spot at least, or number 1 spot as you said. So you know,
Yeah, for sure.
it's definitely needed. It's definitely needed in players that are looking to reach that top spot, because you're not going to get to number 1 by thinking or being content with number 8, you know. So
Yeah,
it's
totally.
good to see.
Yeah, and I think it's really good because it kind of increases competitiveness throughout the scene. Because I think once teams see that there are teams in the lower side like us trying real hard, like these guys are playing way too many games every night. They're just grinding all night, every night, as much as they can. That these top teams will be like, okay, wait a minute, we actually got to improve as much as possible, and that overall is just going to be better for the region, and you know that eventually can take Oceania to the world stage, which I think would be really exciting.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
be really excited for that as well. So let's go for it.
That being said, I mean, I'm pretty much done with the questions. I don't know about you, Avril.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done as well. Except Sheep, how did your League of Legends team go tonight?
We lost to Sin Academy. That was pretty heartbreaking. So Sin have secured their playoff spot in the finals for
Wow.
the Challenger Series, but we're still in second, a close second.
Yeah, well, let's League of Legends aside, well done to your Overwatch team who won
Yeah, for
tonight.
sure.
So
Yeah.
go you guys, yeah. League of
Party with the
Legends,
Overwatch guys.
but Overwatch, man, good job Overwatch.
Yeah, I'll be at the party with the Overwatch guys instead of with the League guys, that's for sure. Hopefully none of the League guys are watching this.
Shots.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's. Sorry, yeah. Do you want to carry on?
All done. Thanks for having us on tonight. I know the guys would have enjoyed playing on stream. Sure Boone enjoyed being resurrected as the odd Torbjorn. Give me a little flack about it.
Yeah, there was some words exchanged. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for having me, guys, and yeah, have a good night.
All right. That being said, thank you very much for joining us. If you are one of the 17 viewers who stuck it out with us through all of these troubles we've had, we do appreciate it very much. And you can, you know, give the channel a follow. We've also got a Twitter page. I think it's Heroes League TV. It's the exact same on Twitter.
At ozfortress on Twitter.
At ozfortress, sorry, on Twitter. Yeah, got that one wrong. But yeah, no, honestly, give us a follow. We got absolutely tons more games. There's 3 more weeks of games to be played, including that doesn't include the playoffs, I should say. So a lot to look forward to. And thank you very much for joining us. I don't know if you want to say any goodbyes, Avril.
Thanks for sticking it out tonight, Bren, and all the admins, Brodog, Spicy Salsa on production, especially the viewers. Apologies once again for the issues that have come up tonight. We wanted to show you so many more games. There were 2 other games that we would have loved to have also shown you, but I'm glad we got the ones that we did. And moving forward, there'll be many more good games to go as well. So thanks for sticking with us, and I hope you've really enjoyed the cast, and hope you've enjoyed the players and the teams go off against each other. And this is Avril and Bren signing out. We'll see you next time.